So Facebook Live comments is a feature that enables viewers to post comments on the live video feed, and viewers can see continuous stream of comments, and that is happening nearly real time as well. It's not like the comment is happening and we are seeing after 5 minutes. It's happening real time. So that is one of the thing. And then we come on to the functional requirements. So the functional requirements is viewers can post comments, right? And viewers can see the new comments. Viewers can see comments before they join the live feed. Okay, so that means there is a history of comments which is present, and user should be able to see the previous comments as well. So these are the three requirements, which are the core requirements. Some requirements are out of scope, that is, viewers can reply to comments or viewers can react to the comments. Okay, fair enough. So we can move to the non-functional requirements. So in the non-functional requirements, the system should scale to support millions of concurrent videos and thousands of comments per live video. Okay, so this is a interesting thing. Like we discussed about functional and non-functional. So functional is pretty straightforward, but non-functional requirement wise, at one particular time, how many videos can be played? So 1 million concurrent videos or live streams. And another thing which we are talking about is how many comments. So I think that scale mentioned here is thousands of comments per second. So that is the scale, thousand of comments uh, per second, right? Makes sense. Then the system should have low latency and broadcasting comments to viewers in real time. So, you guys are also pitch in, like if you have any thoughts or anything, so feel free to stop me and we can discuss more on those things, right? So, here what I try to understand is that we are broadcasting comments, right? So the first thing that comes into my mind is a WebSocket, right? If we have a WebSocket, then it can kind of broadcast to the users that are connected to that particular live stream. I'm not sure if that is the best solution, but yeah. Uh,
So WebSocket use it more for real-time update instead of broadcast. Like even if other system, when you need broadcasting, it's not always right to say that you will use WebSocket. WebSocket will be required here, but I guess only for the real-time updates. Let's say you need broadcast for some other feature, which you can do asynchronously as well. Then you can have message queues and those all things as well. But since here we need real-time update that someone had commented on this video, that's why we might need WebSockets.
okay. Okay, sure. Yeah. So yeah, we will see more on this, like what approach we are taking and why it is correct. So we can brainstorm that. So it's a very big article. So let's move on. So the system should be secure. Obviously, this is one of the important, but not uh, considered in the design. So ensuring that only authorized users, or we can assume these things that these are authorized users, and enforce integrity constraints, ensuring that comments are appropriate, right? And these are not, so you are not doing any filtering or any hate speech or some filtering we are not doing. So that is a good clarification question we can ask the interviewer, that whether you want, we can assume this. So uh, uh, that is fair enough, right? So this is fine. So humans real time. So humans generally perceive interactions as real time if they occur within 200 milliseconds. Any delay shorter than this is perceived as cautious. So when developing real system, this is the target latency to aim for. So yeah, this makes sense, right? So we can assume the delay to be 200 milliseconds, and it will seem like near real time, right? So that is a fun fact. Then another thing is the most popular uh, Facebook live video was Chewbacca Mom, which features a mom thoroughly enjoying a plastic roaring. I'm not aware of this, so it has been viewed over 1 million times. That's crazy number, so it's okay. So they have mentioned it here, so maybe you guys can check it later. So here's how the requirement section would look like. So this is a brief summary what we discussed. This is fine. Uh, this the latency which we are expecting, maybe I can write it here that it is around 200 milliseconds latency. So setup, so how would you approach it? So we will see here. It is important to start by taking a moment to plan your strategy. Fortunately, these are the common product style. The plan should be straightforward. Build your design sequentially, going through your functional requirements, and this will help you stay focused and through complexity to your design, right? So this is the thing. So I'll just take a snapshot of it, and I'll just uh, maybe I'll copy this later. Okay, and then the setup, planning, the approach we discussed. Then what are the core entities? So the core entities would be like I think so. It should be basically a user that is kind of doing the comments, the action. So action would be a comment, uh, post comment, or maybe something like uh, it's kind of let me move this. Yeah. So post comment, and another thing would be like view the comments. So these are the two actions, and entities I can think is a user, and then there would be some video, a live stream, uh, video, something which would have some ID or something. And then another thing would be somebody who is doing it. So maybe a celebrity. This is I'm just thinking it out loud, but not sure. Let's see what here. So user is a viewer or a broadcaster, so that is also a user, celebrity or user. Then video is being broadcasted by different team. Then message posted by the user, comment. So these are the basic three entities. So celebrity is also a user. So and another thing would be the comment. Okay, fine. So let's carry on. So the API design, this is a step-by-step approach. So how would your API look like? So it would be a post API because you are making a post call, and which would have a comments kind of API and the video ID. So which video you are posting the comment. So it's kind of a one-to-many mapping with respect to video ID and the number of comments. So one video can have n number of comments. So header is a JWT session token for authorization and authentication, and then you have a message which is your comment. This is fine. The user is not passed. Instead, it is a part of a request header, either base session or a JWT. The server then validates the token and extracts the user ID from the JWT token. So if anyone has idea, they can share more information about this. Uh,
I don't know the internals, but when you log in for the first time, it will create some token for you.
mm,
And basically, from now, we also have session cookies that is alternative of this JWT token.
mhm.
So using that, it basically authenticates you for the some fixed period of time. So this is more secure way. Every time you don't have to basically give your password and something like that. Once your token is generated, it's basically can authenticate you for a duration.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like that only, but slight difference than these sessions. So JWT contains a hash key also. That gives more edge towards a cookie. We can use that hash value, and that would be there would be a particular key for it that would be stored in the backend side. And so once you try to process any API request and you will pass the JWT token inside it in that API request, it would be validated by the validator that we pass in. So just in the example of like I use Spring Boot. So in the Spring security, we write some configurations. So once a request get intercept, the interceptor works in the validation part, and once it will be validated, then only the request would be processed. Otherwise, it would be like the request won't process, and we will throw a particular error like you don't have the permission. So that's how the authorization would work. I think that is what this comment is trying to tell us. Yeah.
Understood. And when you say hash key, you mean that token only, right?
Actually, the token is encrypted with a particular hash key, and that can be anything. We can set it anything.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so internally, like a token is kind of generated. Let's say when the user is making a call for the first time, the token gets generated and it is generated through a particular hash key,
Yeah.
and then it will be further used that particular token to get the user details and stuff. Maybe yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yes. If for a better understanding, you can access this website, which will give us the tool directly, and which we can say, like set a particular value, and it will create the JWT in real time for us. The website name is jwt.io.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
sure. Thanks for that. We will check that.
Okay.
And so yeah, this is so we are kind of not passing the user ID, and this is how we design. So user ID is not required, and we are just using token for that. So the justification for it is provided here, why we are using it. It's some
One thing more, Himanshu. Any idea about like any convention being followed for the API guidelines in your team that you can highlight? So here they are passing live video ID in the path as well, right? But we can also have it in body. So any opinion on that? Which one is better, and when to use which one?
Actually, if it's a randomly generated, like a sequentially generated ID, then we can pass it in the params as well. There's no problem in passing it in params. But yeah, if it's something like which should be encrypted and which should be private, then we usually pass it in the request body. But I think a live video stream is generally like a general thing, so we can pass it in here because YouTube also gives this value in the params only.
Got it. So I think you are saying there should be two criteria. One is that this should not be secure, like this can be a public key value, and
Yeah.
second is it had to be unique. Like there should be a
Yes.
comments can only map to a particular video ID, right? So this is a
Yeah.
unique value then we can have in the path.
Yeah, and generally, what I why I have seen people what systems tries to do, they set the ID as not as an integer or any ID value like a long value or something. They use this UUID kind of thing. UUID, I don't exactly know how its internal implementation works, but it will give us a varchar kind of ID that will
Yeah, yeah,
contain both the digits as well as the that thing. So that
yeah.
is more accessible for you.
I'm aware about Java UID library. So
Oh,
internally
okay,
how it
okay.
works that I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
but we always use it to generate a unique key.
Yes.
Okay, we can continue. Am I audible?
Yeah, hey, sorry, I'm
Yeah, you
back.
are audible.
Uh, yeah, so are we done with the discussion? Can I move ahead?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, so we also need to be able to fetch the past comments. So there's a get API for that, and it's a cursor and the last comment ID and pagination also they are using. So 10 comments would be shown, I guess. So yeah, pagination will be important for this endpoint. More on that will be when we get deeper into the design. So if somebody wants to just briefly touch upon the pagination, because I was asked this question in one of my interview where uh, interviewer was focused on like how would you optimize that particular API for the users like so if the scale is large, then you won't be making a DB call, right, every time to get the details. So how would you optimize with respect to? I suggested this, like we can use pagination. Then the interviewer kind of got deep and tried to understand like how would you exactly implement that. And I didn't had any practical experience about it, so I was not sure like if I answered correctly. So if anybody has any idea on this pagination, uh, like how would you optimize, how would you implement this like in real life?
So the requirement is not optimization in this case. The requirement is the apps should be very responsive to the user.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I'm not talking about this, but like in general, let's say you won't be making a DB call frequently, right? For just getting 10 of the details, 10.
sure, sure.
Mm,
So just wanted to clarify that the requirement here is that the app should be very responsive to the user. So as soon as you have 10 results available, show it to the user, and again you can have another 10 uh, results after that. So basically, let's say you have open Facebook and you want to see the post of your friends. First, it will generate some threshold size post for you, and it will fetch that value, like your client side will fetch that value for you. And if you go beyond that while scrolling, it will again keep on fetching the next given a fixed number of page value. Like for mobile it can be 10, but for desktop it can be 20. So there is a default value for every type of device,
mhm.
and based on that you can fetch these values, and it does not matter whether you are fetching this thing from memory or database. Pagination is just for making your app very responsive, and user does not have to wait for all the data.
Yeah.
Fetching all the data will take some time, so you don't want to block your user for that. Just give him that result that are available right now.
Yeah, but would you make a DB call for every 10 requests? I mean,
No, no, that is a separate concern. Like where to use cache and where not to use cache. Like that, the pagination thing is not related to that. I'm
mm,
saying
okay.
there are many scenarios where we need cache and where we need to fetch from memory. I'm saying pagination is independent of that.
Hmm. Yeah.
No, I think like pagination can improve your performance of like API and DB query also. Like,
Yes.
uh, so basically, if you are having like this comments can have like 1,000 or maybe 5,000 comments of a people, but doing pagination will make your query much more faster, and then also during the network call also the less bandwidth will be used because you are um, like the message which is transferred over the network is comparatively less as compared to like if 1,000 records were being transferred, or if we compare 1,000 records to the 20 records, so 20 records would take less time. And so that way like your net you can optimize your network and bandwidth usage as well of a API.
Yeah, I
And
agree with that.
yeah, and then we will have to make actually like if we can cache it, like we can rely on cache, but I think there will be calls to DB when you are going from one page to another page, and because it's optimized on the DB level, so that is where it's benefit to us.
Yeah, 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 makes sense. Like network wise, it's fine. and maybe what I can write like some open questions which we can maybe explore, like maybe like how uh, optimization. Maybe for my notes, I am just taking this down. How optimization with the pagination helps in DB queries. And another question which we can go through is the jwt.io. Somebody mentioned, so we can look how it makes it secure, right? So this is fine. Let's move on. So,
Actually, I have one question in here, if anyone can respond to that.
okay.
So, just like this pagination thing, so we are fetching the last comments, right? So, as we are right now talking about the real-time application, so suppose there are 52 records at a particular point, and then we are trying to fetch out the next 10 records, and within that time, it has become 53 or 54, maybe. Okay. So even if we try to do caching on the data records for the pagination part, we won't be able to do that because then those two records will be left, which has recently came.
No, but you are doing on last comment ID, right? You are passing last comment ID in the response. So your API would fetch the next comment from. It would be in ascending order of time.
Oh, okay.
I didn't get your question, Himanshu. Can you
So
repeat?
actually, what I was saying, actually, what I thought initially, but I'm not sure about like how it works. We can do caching, right, for improving the performance of the pagination request. So suppose I'm trying to access the first page. So I will
Yes.
write this particular query, and that would give me the page size as 10 and the page number as 1. This would be my API parameters, right? And this request get cached somewhere. Now, the two new records has came into the database, and the whole size of the DB has of the request has been increased. Now, once I will try to fetch out the data from the cache, I would miss out on some of the new records that has been saved. Does it make sense?
Yes. It. That's why having a proper key for cache is very much required. So you are thinking that you will have page size as a key,
Mm-hmm.
and that will be updated. But let's say uh, we have it like a queue in the memory. So
Okay.
every new comment is basically appended to that queue. So every time we are basically storing that in cache as well as writing in DB. So now whenever we fetch for any page number, it won't fetch using the page number. It will fetch from like first top 10 values from that queue, and that is now the page one for me.
Okay.
I- Initially, page one was from some other comment value to other comment value, but now since our queue has updated in the memory,
Mm-hmm.
it will start from some other comment to other comment. So it is not storing page numbers. It is just storing the first, basically in sorted order of timestamp. So you will
Oh, okay. Okay.
first 10 comments and then give it to the user. Again, let's say there are new comments, it will append it to the queue. Again, you will fetch first 10 comments and give it to the user. So that will work.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thanks.
so what would be the, I mean, the key would be timestamp, right?
No, key will be the live video ID, and for live video ID, value will be the I think list of comment ID or a queue of comment ID
Mm-hmm.
in sorted order.
Okay.
So so
Yeah.
based on, let's say you want to fetch comments for a particular video ID. So from
Uh,
cache, it will
y-
first figure out all the comments of that video ID, and then will pick the first 10 comment of that
so
video
it
ID. So it will be
yeah,
sorted
so
order as well.
it would be like a key of video ID, and I'm just assuming that it will be like a list,
List of comment we can say. Yeah.
and they will have some comment and timestamp, right?
Yeah.
Timestamp, and that would be your list. So this is okay, I think. And yeah, let's move on. So this is fine. High level design. To start with our high level design, let's begin by addressing the first functional requirement. So viewers can post comments on a live video feed. So first things first, this is the first requirement. So this is the ID post request. So there's a client which makes an HTTP request. Then there's a comment management service, uh, and there is a DB, and they are using a DynamoDB, which is a NoSQL DB. Uh, and the structure looks like comment will have a comment ID, the video ID is the primary key. Uh, it should be a foreign key, right? Why it's a primary key? So that means uh, I am not sure why this is a primary key. So then it's have content, author, and created at.
So this is a primary key because you want to fetch all the comments for that particular video.
Okay.
So you can only do that if you know the video ID, right? So if that is your primary key, basically that is the index we are using. We can fetch all the comments of that video ID. So
Mm, okay.
Actually, in DynamoDB, this is not primary key. This is partition key.
Okay.
You give partition key, and then you in one shard, all the rows are there of one partition key. So he has used partition key as video ID, and then he has used secondary key as created at. Like
got it, got
yeah,
it. Yeah, thanks for correcting that. So the primary key is a combination of partition key and sort key here, where
yes,
partition key video ID and sort key the created at matlab time stamp of that comment. Yeah,
yes,
got
yes.
it.
Okay. So what does partition key do? Like DynamoDB, is it distributed across partitions and uh, similar to the shards, and then on the basis of video ID, we will pull it from all the shards and then consolidate the data. Is that what the behavior is?
Yeah, actually, your data is partitioned like the data of all the video IDs. If the video ID is same, all the rows of same video ID they lie in one shard basically.
Okay,
So
got
your
it.
searching will be
Hmm.
you will get benefit in when you are searching or
Understood.
You
Okay.
are already aware about consistent hashing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So that works on partition key only. So whatever your partition key is, it is going to apply that hashing algorithm on that value. So here that will be video ID. And let's say you got server 2 as a answer. So for a particular video ID, all the values will be stored in server 2. All the comments will be stored in server 2.
Hmm. Okay, got it. Yeah, thank you.
And then in server 2, you have something as sort key. So all those timestamp value will be stored together in a sorted order. So that is the purpose of sort key.
Okay, so you will get all the data in sorted order from that particular partition.
Correct.
Okay, for a given video ID. Okay, so okay, so this is the creation of the comment, and the commenter client is a web or a mobile app that allows users to post. It is responsible for authenticating and sending comment. So this is understood. Then creating and the querying of the comments. So this is a generalized service, so it can be used for querying as well. So uh, two functionalities it is giving, creating and querying. So it receives comments and stores them in the DB. It is responsible for retrieving comments from the DB as well. Then comments DB, we choose DynamoDB because it is fast, scalable, and highly available. We can use Cassandra also, right here. Uh, it is a good fit because we are storing simple comments that don't require complex relationships or transactions, and we need high availability as well. So NoSQL fits here. Uh, the user drafts a comment, commenter client. Sends the comment to the comment. Okay, this is like the walkthrough, the flow. So we already discussed this. Let's move on. So viewers can see new comments while they are watching. So I think this is driven by Get API and we are using polling for it. Okay. So a working naive approach is to have a client's poll for new comments every few seconds. We would use get comments last comment ID and adding a since parameter. Client has seen. The server would then return all comments that were posted after the since comment, and the client would append them to the list of comments would be displayed. So these are, I think this is the sequence diagram. So this is your viewer, this is your server, and this is your database. So viewer is the user. So user polls after some seconds and it will make a request, and this is the get API through which it will make the request. Then it queries the database and returns the list of new comments. When there are a lot of users, then the load can increase, and obviously we won't have that much time. So yeah, let's move on. This is the star, but it doesn't scale. As the number of comments and the viewers grows, the polling frequency will need to increase to keep up the demand. Yeah, so this will put a lot of strain and unnecessary requests because we are doing every user is trying to do the same thing. So maybe we can use caching here. So in order to near real time, we would need to poll database every few seconds, which isn't feasible. Yeah, okay. So this is the second thing, but they haven't talked about like how would they optimize it. Maybe later they will talk. So viewers can see comments made before they joined the live feed. So they should immediately start seeing new comments. They should see the history of comments as well. And users should be able to scroll up, view progressively order comments. This UI pattern is called infinite scrolling and is commonly used in chat applications. I'm not aware of it. I'm hearing it for the first time, this infinite scrolling pattern. So maybe we can check it offline, like in detail.
No, you know about infinite scrolling as a user as well. So if you open Quora or Facebook, you keep on scrolling and you will getting
Yeah, but that is behind the scenes pagination only, right?
yeah, but that feature, that UI pattern is called infinite scrolling. That earlier, what used to happen that you have data available in one page, let's say 20 value post, and then again you have to click on second page number to basically go to second page.
Correct.
As a user, that experience was not that good.
Hmm.
Now they have given user this experience that you can continually scroll for let's say 1 hour as well, and you will keep on getting new feeds for you.
Hmm.
So it's not a technical term; it's a basically a UI feature given to the user.
Okay. Okay. So UI is kind of responsive enough to make those backend API calls and get that data in real time.
Yes, and create that illusion for the user that infinite scrolling is happening for him.
Hmm. Okay. Nice. So we can fetch the initial set of recent comments using the get call. We would use since parameter that would give us comments newer than a timestamp. Uh, the opposite of what we really want, something will give me the n most recent comments that occurred before a certain timestamp. So if we are at a certain timestamp, then what are the events that have happened before that, right? So those comments. So do you guys think we can use Kafka for this because each comment is an event and uh, we can do it with Kafka also. Kafka or any message queue.
I'm thinking about the same.
Yeah, so we can have different consumers and
Yeah,
we can whoever wants to read the message they can kind of use that consumers to pull the data.
So, so who are the consumers of this Kafka? Just want to understand what's your solution.
So user the let's say there is a celebrity and they are posting some live streaming. So we so there is a Kafka cluster and uh, user would be posting the data, and when the user is reading there is a common pool. So the consumers would be the user itself.
Oh, okay, okay.
So yeah, it's but weird like producer and consumers both are on the same, but they can subscribe to that same thing. But but how would we achieve that in real time? That is the question.
Yeah, my concern is that only. So if we are going for real time update, then it's little complicated with Kafka.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I'm okay with this. If we have to send some SMS notifications, then we go with Kafka only. But here we want to give real time updates to the user.
Okay. Okay, we can to do that we can so and recent comments. So pagination is a common technique to break up the last set of results into smaller chunks. It is used in the conjunction with infinite scrolling to scroll down the page. Whenever you have requirement that involves large set of results, you should consider pagination. Implementing pagination, there are two main approaches: offset pagination and cursor pagination. So bad solution is the offset pagination. Sorry. So this is right. This is what mess up in your interview. Like this approach, if you tell it won't work. So yeah. So the simplest approach is to use offset pagination. Offset is a technique to specify the starting point for fetching the results. Initially, the offset is zero, and to load the uh, most recent comments, then the number of comments you have fetched, uh, known as the page size. So there are certain challenges with respect to poses, significant challenges in context of fast moving and high volume. So what are the challenges? So it is quite detailed. So first, offset pagination is inefficient as the volume comments grows. The data must proceeding. Okay, if your offset is wrong, then there would be a bad user experience where a user will see incorrect data. I think this was
So,
your question, right, Himanshu or somebody
Himanshu,
was.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think there are two challenges
yes,
here. One that Himanshu already said, that if new comments are
yeah,
added, the offset value will look incorrect. And second challenge they are saying is, even to read a value from offset 20, you have to read the uh, all the comments that are before that offset. So from offset 0 to 20, you will read unnecessary from the database. E- Even if you required pagination after offset 20. So that is also one challenge here.
Hmm. Okay. So then there is cursor pagination. So a better approach to use is a cursor pagination is a technique that uses cursor to specify the starting point of fetching the results is a unique identifier that points to a specific item in the list of results. Okay, initially the cursor is set to the most recent comment and it is updated each time the user scrolls to load more. This approach is more efficient than offset because the database does not need to count through all rows.
TC takes a cursor for each query. Yeah, so challenge one is handled here.
Okay, what was the challenge one?
That we even if we want to read from offset 20, we have to read from for offset from offset 0 to 20 anyways. So that will create a slower response for us. But in case of cultural pagination, you can directly go to that value and read from there, because if you remember, our timestamp as a cursor is also a sort key, so you can directly fetch that value and read next 10 values from there. You don't have to read older values of that offset.
Okay,
So
so
this is fast.
okay.
Let me know if anyone have some other opinion, or if I misunderstood.
So here cursor will be the last element or like the last.
Initially, it would be the most recent
Yeah.
comment, and if let's say the user scrolls down, then it will move to that particular point where the user is in the UI. So I guess that the cursor move to there, and then it will make a call. All the all the comments which are greater than that cursor value.
Yes.
But if we have to search in a reverse manner, like if I have to search what were my uh, like first 10 comments posted, then will this approach help?
No, because here we are fetching the latest comment after that ID, and your requirement is for going to the older comments, seeing the history.
So I think this depends upon use case to use case, like maybe
But
cursor
we
or that.
we have both use cases here, right? We also want to see history, but we also want to see new comments. So in new comments, the order is different from the order you want to see in history. In
Mm-hmm.
history, you want to see for older comments, but in here you want to see the new comments. Order is just reversed actually.
Yeah,
So I think there should be one or more parameter with the sort, like whether your timestamp should be in ascending order or descending order.
yeah, okay. Let's see,
Yeah.
like I maybe it's discussed later. So let's see. So this approach is more efficient than offset pagination because database does not need to count through all the rows. Assuming we built an index on the cursor field, so there should be an indexing. Additionally, a cursor pagination is stable. If a comment is added or deleted while the user is scrolling, the cursor will still point to the correct item in the list. So this
The
is
second
how,
challenge,
yeah,
yeah, second challenge is also handled here.
hmm, yeah. So yeah, okay. Which is like incorrect offset, right? Second challenge.
Yep.
Yeah.
Uh, and so this is your comment ID and the page size. Uh, this is your cursor, which is the last comment ID. Okay. And we choose DynamoDB. We will use last comment ID as a cursor. Via DynamoDB, last evaluated key feature. So there's some feature in DynamoDB, last evaluated key, which helps on this. And this is how your query looks like. This is your table. This is your expression, page size. Okay.
Okay, so there is a third parameter, is scan index forward. I think that is doing the work of the sort parameter I was talking about. So if this scan index forward is false, it will go in forward direction. If it is true, it will go in backward, like it will happen in opposite direction.
Okay.
So, so from any comment, you can go in either direction, whether you want to see history or whether you want to see newer comments. You will just change this flag.
I'm not sure on that, but yeah, maybe we can search about it. Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, just mention it in open question.
hmm
We will come back to this after finishing article.
Yeah, one second. हाँ आंटी, ठीक है. Yeah, hello.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
you are audible.
okay, let's move on. So, cursor based
There,
paging.
there was one thing mentioned in there, like it says it still requires a database query for each new page of results, which can be significantly in high traffic environment like ours. Means it will give us a better solution for this problem, like in the
Mm-hmm.
upcoming sections. Yeah.
Yeah. So, cursor based pagination is a better fit. Unlike offset pagination, it's more efficient as we don't need this, we already discussed, and this is the key thing. Some this feature we can check that maybe later also. Okay, so let's move on. Potential deep dives. How can we ensure comments are broadcasted to viewers in real time? So our polling solution was a good start, but it's not going to pass the interview. Instead of having a client guess when new comments are ready and requesting them, we can use a push based model. So as soon as the comments are ready, we can use a push based model. So the server can push the data now. The client will not poll, but instead the server will push when it has the data. So there are two ways we can implement this: WebSockets and server sent events, SSE. Let's weigh in the pros and cons of each. So WebSockets can be used. So uh, WebSockets are a two-way communication channel between a client and a server. So you have a client and you have a server. So here kind of establishing of the WebSocket is happening. Once the WebSocket connection is happened, then it acknowledges and the connection is open. So what would happen? So basically, whenever the server has the data, so it will push the comment data to the client, which is the user. So client then processes this data and it doesn't poll the data. So the server keeps on pushing the data. So yeah, this diagram is illustrative. You would not require. This is fine. Now let's read it through. So the server keeps a connection open, sends new data without requiring. When a new comment acquires the content comment management server. And this is like a general server. Okay, we read this. WebSockets are for real-time applications. There's a balanced read to write ratio. They are optimal. But this is not optimal in our case. They will be viewing or reading all the comments. So the read ratio is high and writes are less. Yeah, because if the user, uh, but the read is high, right? So if it can be broadcasted.
No, they are not talking about broadcast. They are talking whether WebSocket is a good solution here or not. And they are saying it's not because it's a read heavy system. So you will post a comment once in a while, but you will be basically reading other comments. So
Okay,
you
so
don't need two-way,
hmm,
you need don't need two-way communication here, which WebSocket provides.
okay, and maintaining so many connections would also be a overhead. And so this is a great solution, which is a server sent events. Okay, let's read it through. So there is a commenter client. They are creating a connection. I'm just assuming that. Let's read it first. Here is our updated flow. User post a comment. It has to be persisted in the database as explained above. in order for all viewers to see the comment management service will send the comment over server sent events to all the connected clients that are subscribed to that live video. Okay,
Did you open that drop down? Server sentiments?
no.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah, let's check this. So a better approach is to use server sent events. SSE is a persistent connection that operates over standard HTTP, making it simpler to implement than WebSockets. The server can push data to the client in real time, while client to server communication happens through regular HTTP. So whenever we are making a client to server, for example, we are commenting or posting a comment, that would happen through HTTP. But whenever a read is happening, where we are get call is happening, then maybe that is happening through SSE, server sent events.
yes.
So read write ratio imbalance the inf, but is this a different protocol? We are it should be HTTP only, right?
It is over HTTP, but this is a separate protocol. So other than HTTP, SSH is a separate protocol, just like WebSocket.
Okay, the infrequent comment creation can use HTTP post request, while the frequent reads benefit from one-way streaming. So this is not bi-direction, is it? Maybe it's different
Yes.
from WebSocket.
It's
So
it's always from server to client.
yeah, so this
Only them.
yeah, so it also talks about like if there is no there is a read or write imbalance, then this is a better approach to use uh, SSC. So whenever, yeah, so SSC introduces several infrastructure challenges which needs careful consideration. Some proxies, load balancers lack supports, leading to buffering issues, which can be difficult to track. So browsers also impose concurrent SSC connections per domain, which creates problems for users trying to watch multiple live streams. The long-lived nature of SSC connection complicates monitoring and debugging efforts. Why? Like it's just for 30-60 seconds before needing to reconnect. This is weird. I mean, this they are saying that it lasts for only 30, then it will again try to reconnect. But there is an event source API that handles this reconnection automatically and tracks the last received event ID. This allows clients to request any missed comments when reconnecting, ensuring a smooth viewing experience. Yeah, okay. So I think by design they have taken some choices where they are reconnecting, and then there is event source API which handles this. So maybe we can check this like how this works. So maybe we can go through this later.
I have a question in here. So, have they mentioned any queues or something for these uh, for storing these requests,
Mm,
like in the SSE? So, suppose if the connection gets over after 60 seconds,
mm,
and it again got connected after like 10 seconds or 15 seconds.
mm-hmm.
So there should be like a particular queue or something which will collect all the API requests at that point of time. So then it can be broadcasted once the connection is established again.
Yeah, I agree, but how that is modeled internally, that is not mentioned. Maybe internally it uses some queue, but
No. So I don't think they are using queue. So it's like if there is some disconnection, your
Mhm.
offset will not increase, right? So there is a separate server side event connection for each client. Now when your client fetches that those comments, it knows what was the last comment ID that you saw. Let's say you have a disconnection at that time, and you come back after 10 seconds. Then your fetching will start from that particular comment ID that you have saved in the
Yes,
client.
yes, yeah, that can be yeah, that can happen. Yes.
okay, so uh, yeah, this is fine. Then for writing, as we discussed, this is happening for reading. SSEs are used. Mm, okay. Uh, Command management service send the command over SSE to all the connected clients that are subscribed to that live video. Okay. Okay. So how would you scale? This is also not the right solution. They're saying. So are we astute readers?
Might be. I thought it's a good solution now.
Yeah. So.
No, one thing I was thinking that it's not a good solution only because command management is service at doing lot of work. It's also writing that commands using HTTP call, and it's also serving all the basically maintaining all the server side event connection and then broadcasting it to all the users. So
Yeah.
that is too much work for a simple service. Basically, you want to have some microservices structure for that.
Hmm.
Yes.
No, but here, okay, yeah, that is one concern, but maybe, uh, but here they are specific about like how do you this server side server sent events are not scalable. Like why is it so? Because maybe we are maintaining lot of connections still. I mean, uh, and is that really required?
So they already said there are billion of concurrent users, right? So maintaining all those connections at real time is very difficult. Like one server cannot handle all the connection. We can assume, let's say one server can handle 1 lakh connections. So we need to have some way to manage all those servers such that
Hmm.
some connections are handled at one server, some connections are handled at second server. So that's too much work for a service. So
Yeah,
that's why it's not very scalable. We need to design it in such way
yeah,
that
and it is
that
becoming a
yeah,
single point of failure,
Mhm.
something like that also. So,
But what I am thinking right now, so as we have this reconnecting thing, right? So like the reconnection is happening just after 1 minute, every just after every 1 minute. So if we go with the microservices, and we are also talking about the concurrency. So suppose we have three servers who are helping us in the SSE, and then three servers which are handling this create part, which is basically the normal HTTP request.
hmm.
So we can have this data like so suppose one server failed at one particular point, and we can have double writes condition things, double writes cases, as well as some data that has been not sent, and that can like we can have a lot of issues, right, with the microservices related to the data not sent or double data sent.
Yes, that issue can come, and interviewer may want to talk about that as well.
Yeah.
mhm. Okay, let's move on. So we landed on how will the system scale to support millions of concurrent viewers. So we landed on this server side being the appropriate technology, But one thing, what I before I jump on to the this thing, I was thinking that if let's say you miss on something, right? If there is some issue with this, then how would you handle that? It's not like we will say that comments we can't show or something like that. If so, something like a messaging system or message queue would be more reliable to kind of relay all the comments. If like something like a backup of something should be there, right?
Mm.
Because this if we are dependent on real time everything, then um, yeah, there is no backup to relay the messages or something like that. So yeah, maybe
So,
let's move.
but that is also not required here, right?
Hmm,
If you are not able to see latest comment while you are offline, that is okay. When you come back, again you will fetch
hmm,
uh, call that API and you will get the latest comments using that API using cursor. So that is okay, right? Now, let's say we want to go with the queue solution here. Now, maintaining a queue for every client, every user is going to be very difficult,
okay.
and that is required when where you need really good data durability. Let's say this is a banking system,
Hmm,
then I might go with that solution that we don't we need data durability, and that's why our system should also have those events that are not consumed by client yet. He can come back online and he can consume it, but in this scenario I don't think that's required.
okay, because a user can drop off abruptly and uh, they might choose to post or they might choose to read some, yeah, so yeah,
Yeah, think of everyone is comfortable with Hindi here.
Yeah.
So या थिंक अबाउट द रियल लाइफ सिनेरियो कि अगर मैं यूट्यूब देख रहा हूँ किसी टाइम पे तो उस समय जो लेटेस्ट कमेंट मैं उसी देखने में इंटरेस्टेड हूँ. लेट्स से अब मैं पानी पीने या कुछ करने चला गया और 2 मिनट बाद वापस आता हूँ,
hmm,
तो अभी जो लेटेस्ट कमेंट चल रहा है मुझे वो चाहिए ना. मेरा जो छूट गया उससे मुझे मतलब ही नहीं है. लाइक इट्स ओके अगर मुझे वो कमेंट नहीं दिखे
hmm,
अनटिल मैं स्क्रॉल करके उसका हिस्ट्री फेच नहीं करता हूँ, वो अलग कंसर्न है. बट अगर मुझे नहीं दिखाता है वो रियल टाइम में देन इट्स
hmm,
ओके. जो निकल गया वो तो निकल गया.
right.
एनीवेज वी आर नॉट इंटरेस्टेड. तो इस केस में वो डेटा ड्यूरेबिलिटी नहीं चाहिए. दैट्स व्हाई क्यू सॉल्यूशन इज नॉट दैट गुड हियर.
Hmm. Okay, okay, let's
Yeah, makes sense.
yeah, let's read it through. So with SSE, we need to maintain open connection for each viewer. Modern servers and operating systems can handle large number of concurrent connections, roughly between 100K to 1 million on a single listening port. Realistically, system resources, file descriptors become the bottleneck. If you want to support many concurrent users, we might want to be able to do with a single machine. We must scale by horizontally adding more servers. So the question becomes how would we distribute the multiple servers and ensure each server knows which commands to send to which viewers. Okay, so contrary to common misconception, the capacity isn't limited to these many connections. The number refers to the range of port numbers, not the number of connections in a single server port can handle. Each TCP connection is identified by a unique combination of source IP. Okay, this is an important line. So yeah, so this source IP, source port, destination. Okay, so this is each unique TCP connection. With proper OS tuning and resource allocation, single listening port can handle hundred of thousands, even this concurrent this. So, however, the server hardware was rather than theoretical port limit determine the maximum number of this. Okay.
तो दिस इज ट्रू. ये बहुत लोगों को मिसकंसेप्शन होता है बिकॉज एक सर्वर में यूजफुली 65,535 कनेक्शन पोर्ट अवेलेबल होते हैं. मतलब जेनरिक बता रहा हूँ, ऐसे बहुत सारे डिफरेंट शेप्स आते हैं.
Hmm.
बट जनरली कि इतना पोर्ट होता था तो एक टाइम तक मैं भी सोचता था कि हर पोर्ट एक कनेक्शन हैंडल कर पाएगा, बट विच इज नॉट द केस. इवन अ
Hmm.
सिंगल पोर्ट कैन हैंडल मल्टीपल कनेक्शंस.
Yeah.
तो बहुत ज़्यादा हो सकता है. एंड जब भी हमारा कोई वेब सॉकेट कनेक्शन या सर्वर साइड इवेंट कनेक्शन एस्टेब्लिश होगा, तो वो यूनिकली आइडेंटिफाई होता है विद द कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ सोर्स आईपी, सोर्स पोर्ट, डेस्टिनेशन आईपी, डेस्टिनेशन पोर्ट। जैसे अगर मैं व्हाट्सएप कॉल कर रहा हूँ और वो वेब लेट से व्हाट्सएप कॉल वेब सॉकेट ही करता होगा, तो आई एम अज्यूमिंग कि वेबसाइट सॉकेट जब कनेक्शन करेगा तो मेरे मोबाइल डिवाइस में एक टीसीपी कनेक्शन एस्टेब्लिश हो जाएगा जो मैप में आ जाएगा, और उसमें ये चारों वैल्यूज होंगे कि सोर्स आईपी मेरा, सोर्स पोर्ट में जिस पोर्ट से मेरा कॉल जा रहा है, वही वैसे ही डेस्टिनेशन आईपी और डेस्टिनेशन पोर्ट जिसको मैंने कॉल किया है फ्रेंड को।
करेक्ट।
वो हाँ बस।
तो वो एक पोर्ट पे होगा क्या कनेक्शन, और उस
हाँ,
पोर्ट पे
लेकिन एक जो
मल्टीपल
मल्टीपल कनेक्शन हैंडल कर सकता है।
मल्टीपल
यस,
व्हाट्सएप कॉल हो सकते सेम बैकएंड सर्वर पे,
राइट।
विच इज मतलब एक पोर्ट हमने एक्सपोज कर दिया और वो हमारी सर्विस का पोर्ट है, एंड दैट इज सपोर्टिंग मल्टीपल व्हाट्सएप कॉल्स विच हैव दिस यूनिक टीसीपी कनेक्शंस, राइट?
यस।
Okay. And which they are saying that it can be this much value, right, on a single port. Okay, at the same time, concurrent. Okay, so fine. But the challenge here would be which is the resources, right? It can
Mm.
become overwhelming for a single server with so many concurrent connections.
राइट।
So yeah, so before we deep dive into the solutions, understand the core challenge. When we add more servers to handle loads, viewers watching the same video may end up connecting to different servers. And user is watching live video and connected to server 1. User V is watching the same video and connected to server 2. Okay. Now imagine a comment posted on live video 1 if this comment post hits server. So basically this was the design. So they are kind of distributing this to different servers. And if let's say a video ID is same, then how would you decide where the request should go?
नहीं, वो चैलेंज नहीं है। चैलेंज यहाँ पे है, लेट्स से मल्टीपल सर्वर्स हैं उस सर्विस में, एंड जब मेरा ये सर्वर सेंटिमेंट कनेक्शन बना है, तो लेट्स से मैं सर्वर 1 से कनेक्टेड हूँ,
Hmm.
और और तुम सर्वर 2 से कनेक्टेड हो, बट हम दोनों सेम वीडियो देख रहे हैं।
हाँ.
तो अगर मैंने कोई कमेंट पोस्ट किया तो वो तो सर्वर 1 में चला जाएगा एचटीटीपी कॉल के थ्रू,
Hmm.
और सर्वर 1 में लेट्स से कि और भी यूजर्स हैं जो उस वीडियो को देख रहे हैं, तो सर्वर 1 उनको भी भेज देगा थ्रू सर्वर सेंट इवेंट्स
Hmm.
उन यूजर क्लाइंट्स को। बट तुम सर्वर 2 से कनेक्टेड हो, तो सर्वर 1 तुम्हें कैसे इन्फॉर्म करेगा कि ये नया कमेंट आया है, और तुम्हारे एंड पे कैसे भेजेगा? वो यहाँ पे चैलेंज है।
नहीं तो वो तो कंसिस्टेंट हैशिंग या उससे नहीं कर सकते क्या, मतलब समथिंग लाइक अ गॉसिप काइंड ऑफ थिंग which can happen between the servers.
नहीं, आई थिंक यहाँ पर जू कीपर वगैरह का यूज केस बन रहा है कि जो मैपिंग स्टोर करे।
Hmm.
किस चीज की मैपिंग? अच्छा, सर्वर टू यूजर्स।
कि कौन सा यूजर कौन से मतलब जिस सर्वर पे एसएससी कनेक्शन बना हुआ है, मतलब कौन सी वीडियो का किस एसएससी कनेक्शन पे फॉरवर्ड करे,
हाँ, वो एक
मैपिंग
तरीका
की
हो
होगी।
सकता है। नॉट श्योर इफ इट्स फीजिबल, बट वो एक तरीका हो सकता है। बट ये भी एक कंसर्न है कि सर्वर 2 में सर्वर डेटा कैसे भेजे सर्वर 2 से सर्वर 1 को। मैपिंग तुम्हारा इसलिए यूज होगा टू फिगर आउट कि सर्वर से किन किन यूजर्स को भेजना
हाँ,
है।
इट्स द सेम वे लाइक जो हम चैट एप्लीकेशन में यूज करते हैं,
हाँ,
जो
हाँ, बट अक्रॉस सर्वर भी कम्युनिकेशन होना चाहिए, और वो सर्वर से एक्टिवेट नहीं है। मतलब सर्वर क्लाइंट से कनेक्टेड है एसएससी प्रोटोकॉल के थ्रू,
हाँ हाँ
बट
हाँ
आपस में सर्वर्स कनेक्टेड नहीं है।
हाँ,
वो चैलेंज है यहाँ पे।
इंटरकनेक्शन करना होगा मतलब बेसिकली
हाँ,
सब।
या तो कुछ कर, या क्यूइंग करना होगा, या इंटरकनेक्शन करना होगा। वही चैलेंज है जो यहाँ पे सॉल्व करना चाहता है।
हाँ, मैं यही बोल रहा था जैसे कुछ काफका टाइप का रख ले एंड वो पब्लिश कर दे एंड people can subscribe and consume, but that is not looks like.
अभी भी प्रॉब्लम पीपल का नहीं है,
Mhm.
सर्वर से पीपल को भेजना क्लियर है, वो सर्वर साइड इवन कनेक्शन है। अगर सर्वर को पता है इस वीडियो को कौन कौन से क्लाइंट देख रहे हैं,
हम्म।
तो वो उनके एसएससी के थ्रू भेज देगा। प्रॉब्लम यहाँ पे ये है कि जब मैं कमेंट पोस्ट कर रहा हूँ वो किसी और सर्वर में जा रहा है,
हम्म।
बट और भी सर्वर्स हो सकते हैं जहाँ पे वो क्लाइंट्स हैं जो उस पर्टिकुलर वीडियो को देख रहे हैं।
हम्म।
तो अक्रॉस सर्वर कम्युनिकेशन कैसे हो, वो
ओके।
चैलेंज है यहाँ
ओके, so the first thing we need to do is separate out the read and the write traffic by creating real-time messaging servers that are responsible for sending comments to viewers. We separate this out because write traffic is much lower and the read traffic is high, and we need to scale the read traffic independently. To distribute incoming traffic evenly across multiple servers, we can use load balancing like round robin. Upon connecting to this, the client needs to send message informing which video it is watching. The real-time messaging servers then update the mapping in the local memory. तो लाइव वीडियो वन है जैसे, तो ये इसका कौन से सर्वर से कनेक्टेड है, आई थिंक वो मेंशन है यहाँ पे, सम मैपिंग, और ये राउंड रॉबिन फैशन में असाइंड है. To distribute the incoming until we can use simple this upon connecting. ओके, तो उसका ट्रैफिक किसको भेजना है, राइट? दैट मैपिंग इट इज स्टोरिंग.
पे। हाँ, वही जो रोहित बोल रहा था।
Hmm. A new comment is created. The server can loop through the list of viewers for that live. But millions of users होंगे तो ये mapping maintain करना will also be a challenge, I guess. If it drops out and it again joins. Redis for PubSub and broadcast new comments.
मैं ठीक से पढ़ नहीं पाया, किसी को समझ में आया क्या ये क्या सॉल्यूशन बताया मैंने?
तो बेसिकली अगर कोई यूजर अपना कमेंट मैनेजमेंट सर्विस पे पोस्ट रिक्वेस्ट करेगा, तो
हम्म।
अपार्ट फ्रॉम राइटिंग इट इनटू डेटाबेस, एक कमेंट या रेडिस पबसब पे पब्लिश हो जाएगा. अब रेडिस पबसब पे हमारी मैपिंग होगी यहाँ पर, जो ये नीचे लिखा हुआ है इन्होंने, रियल टाइम मैसेज सर्विस.
हम्म।
सो ये सो बेसिकली उस मैपिंग पे अपने को ये पता लग जाएगा कि इस वीडियो आईडी पे कमेंट आया और इस वीडियो आईडी पे ये एसएससी मतलब कंज्यूम कर रहे हैं कमेंट्स. तो जो जो भी एसएससी कॉन्फ़िगर्ड होंगे वो उस पे हमें राइट मारना होगा बेसिकली, और
ये
अकॉर्डिंग
मैपिंग रेडिस में क्यों है?
ये मतलब रेडिस में नहीं है, लाइक रेडिस से हम सिर्फ हम नोटिफाई कर रहे हैं इसको, रियल टाइम मैसेजिंग सर्विस को. मे बी रियल टाइम मैसेज सर्विस के पास भी ये मैपिंग हो सकती है, बट रेडिस से कम्युनिकेशन कर रहे हैं हम इसको.
अंडरस्टूड। ओके ओके, हाँ आई थिंक सो मैपिंग रियल टाइम मैसेजिंग सर्विस में होगा ना कि रेडिस में। रेडिस से जस्ट बेसिकली वो कमेंट
ये
कमेंट
सिर्फ
मैनेजमेंट
रेडिस
सर्विस
इज,
से लेके।
हाँ, यूज्ड एज अ पब सब बेसिकली.
गॉट इट।
Okay, and these servers would all subscribe to the channel and receive the message. They would then send the comment to all the viewers that are watching the live video through this server sent events, and needs to process every new comment and it computationally overwhelmed.
सो बेसिकली हमने जो एसएससी थे उसको हमने अलग कर दिया कंटेंट मैनेजमेंट सर्विस से,
हम्म
and they are being handled by this real time messaging service. So every
हम्म,
time there is a post on comment management service, एक इवेंट चला जाता है रेडिस पबसब में।
हम्म
अब ये रियल जो जो भी इसके कंज्यूमर्स होंगे, इस वीडियो आईडी के, उन उन कंज्यूमर्स में ये ब्रॉडकास्ट हो जाएगा बेसिकली।
राइट। सो अभी भी हम एसएससी ही यूज कर रहे हैं, बट जस्ट दैट वी हैव सेग्रीगेटेड द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी टू दिस।
प्रॉब्लम ये रियल टाइम मैसेजिंग सर्विस पे किसी हर सर्वर में कुछ क्लाइंट हो सकते हैं जो वो उस वीडियो को देख रहा हो, राइट?
हाँ
तो
हाँ
बेसिकली हर सर्वर को ही रेडिट से वो कमेंट कंज्यूम करना पड़ेगा।
हाँ, अगर नया कमेंट आता है किसी यूजर का तो वो अपडेट होगा।
आइदर इट कैन फिल्टर आउट कि अगर उसके पास नहीं हुआ, या उसको कंज्यूम करना होगा।
या
वो किस बेसिस पे करेगा फिल्टर ये?
आई थिंक हर सर्वर के पास अपने एसएससी की मैपिंग्स होंगी। अ,
एसएससी की मैपिंग, ओके,
नहीं,
उस वीडियो आईडी की मैपिंग होगी।
हाँ,
और
इस
अगर
हर
कमेंट उस
सर्वर।
वीडियो आईडी से, अंडरस्टूड अंडरस्टूड। सो
हम्म।
यू आर सेइंग मैपिंग में अगर वो वीडियो आईडी होगा तो ही वो उसको कंज्यूम करेगा।
हाँ 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 हाँ
समझ गया। बट इवन देन उस सर्वर से बहुत सारे क्लाइंट्स अटैच हो सकते हैं सर्वर एसएससी के थ्रू,
हाँ, इवन अटैच हो सकते हैं, एंड
जो
देन
उस वीडियो को सुन
लीव
रहे
भी
हो।
हो सकता है, ये क्लाइंट्स लीव भी कर सकते हैं कनेक्शंस को।
गॉट इट गॉट इट।
ओके। सो
समझ गया चैलेंज यहाँ पे। हाँ, अच्छा सोल्यूशन तो नहीं है ये।
हाँ, सो इसमें चैलेंज ये है कि दिस अप्रोच वर्क्स बट इट इज़ नॉट वेरी एफिशिएंट। ईच रियल टाइम मैसेजिंग सर्वर नीड्स टू प्रोसेस एवरी कमेंट even if it is not broadcasting the live video, and this leads to inefficiency and slow performance. Then a good solution would be to improve upon, we can partition the comment stream into different channels based on the video. Each real time would subscribe only to the channels it needed, determined by the viewers connected to it. तो पार्टीशन हम करेंगे ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ
तो
डिफरेंट।
अभी हमने अगर वीडियो
वीडियो आईडी।
वीडियो के ऊपर पार्टीशन कर दिया, तो एक वीडियो आईडी की सब सम स्पेसिफिक इंस्टेंस ही होंगे रियल टाइम मैसेजिंग सर्विस के।
अच्छा,
उसको
तो पहले जैसे यहाँ पे हमने ये मेंशन करा था, ठीक है, कि इस वीडियो आईडी के कौन कौन सर्वर से रिक्वेस्ट आ रही है, समथिंग यही मैपिंग थी, राइट?
हाँ हाँ
तो
हाँ,
अब
यही मैपिंग थी।
और अगर कोई नया यूजर लेट से कमेंट करता है तो वो इस मैपिंग में ऐड हो जाता था, या
नहीं,
मतलब।
these आर योर व्यूअर्स बेसिकली, जो कमेंट्स देख रहे हैं,
अच्छा, जो देख रहे हैं कमेंट्स।
जिनको ब्रॉडकास्ट करना।
ओके, सो ओके, but these two are mutually exclusive, right? This video ID has nothing to do with video ID 2.
यस।
So if we want to broadcast it to three different servers, so there are three servers, okay, and request is coming up. Uh, I'm still not able to get actually here कि अगर मेरे
नो,
पास सर्वर है, मतलब प्रॉब्लम यहाँ पे क्या हो रही थी इसमें, इस
नहीं, इसमें ये है कि एक मतलब पैरेलली में तीन वीडियोस अपने पास लाइव स्ट्रीम हो रही हैं।
हम्म
अब उन तीनों वीडियोस पे अलग-अलग व्यूअर्स होंगे अब अपने पास।
हम्म
और हमने क्या किया, हर एक वीडियो के लिए जितने भी व्यूअर्स हैं उतने एसएससी कनेक्शंस हमने क्रिएट किए हैं। सो अगर किसी वीडियो पे किसी ने कमेंट किया,
हम्म
तो जैसे ही कमेंट मैं डीबी में सेव करूंगा, उसके साथ-साथ मैं रेडिस पबसब में भी पब्लिश कर दूंगा।
अच्छा।
अब रियल टाइम मैसेजिंग सर्विस उसको कंज्यूम करेगी,
हम्म
और वो देखेगी वो कमेंट कौन सी वीडियो आईडी का है,
ओके।
एंड देन बेस्ड ऑन दिस वीडियो आईडी अगर वो देखेगी कि मेरे पास इस वीडियो आईडी के लिए कोई एसएससी कनेक्शन है इस सर्विस में, वो अपने
अच्छा।
पास मैपिंग रखेगी।
हम्म, हाँ ठीक है, मतलब ये मैं समझ गया, बट यहाँ पे ये बोल रहे थे कि राउंड रॉबिन फैशन में ये होगा,
हाँ,
बट
ये पहले
बीस्ट।
ये बोल रहे थे कि राउंड रॉबिन में होगा क्योंकि हमने पार्टीशन नहीं किया था।
नहीं,
तो
बट ये वीडियो इज नॉट डिपेंडेंट ऑन दिस वीडियो, राइट? वीडियो आईडी 1 इज नॉट डिपेंडेंट ऑन वीडियो आईडी 2।
ऐसे हो सकता है ना कि जो अपने रियल टाइम मैसेजिंग सर्विस है
हाँ।
उसमें बहुत सारे इंस्टेंसेस होंगे अपने पास उस सर्विस के। तो एक इंस्टेंस पे आपके पास एसएससी कनेक्शन 1 और एसएससी कनेक्शन 5 हो सकते हैं,
ओके।
जो वीडियो आईडी 1 और वीडियो आईडी 2 दोनों के हैं।
हम्म, ठीक है। ठीक है रोहित, आई थिंक मतलब मुझे, मैं समझ गया, बट मैं थोड़ा विजुअलाइज नहीं कर पा रहा, सो मे बी आई विल चेक दैट एंड ट्राई टू थिंक मोर, बट ये था। आई थिंक पीपल हैव ड्रॉप्ड ऑफ, बट आई थिंक वी आर मोस्टली डन हेयर, सो
हम्म।
लेट्स जस्ट सी एंड क्लोज दिस, मतलब ये वाला स्किप कर देंगे, एक्सपेक्टेड एट ईच लेवल। हाँ, क्योंकि that has nothing to do, just एक आर्टिकल और है तो वो देख लेते हैं। So good solution would be to improve upon the previous approach. We can partition the comment stream into different channels based on the live stream. Each messaging server would subscribe only to channels it needs. Determine the viewers it is connected to. Since having a channel per video will consume a lot of resources, and in some cases like Kafka, it may not be infeasible. So we can use hashing function to distribute it to multiple channels on the basis of a partition key, which is live video ID. So I think this is an alternative जो हम राउंड रॉबिन कर रहे थे, उसके
हम्म।
लिए उसकी जगह हम हैशिंग यूज करके इस पार्टीशन की से वी विल डिसाइड कि कहाँ पर वो पर्टिकुलर रिक्वेस्ट जाएगा, किस सर्वर पर।
हम्म हम्म।
तो कंसिस्टेंट हैशिंग में भी तो हम यही करते हैं।
हाँ, बट इसने ये भी लिखा है कि देयर इज अ रिस्क दैट अ सर्वर कुड एंड अप विद व्यूअर सब्सक्राइब टू मेनी डिफरेंट स्ट्रीम्स, जो
करेक्ट।
चैलेंजेस में लिखा हुआ है, एंड रेप्लिकेटिंग द इशू फ्रॉम द प्रीवियस अप्रोच।
With the load balancer using round robin, there's a risk. Yeah, replicating the issue from the previous approach. Okay, so यहाँ पे client है, it makes a request. Redis PubSub broadcast new events live video ID. Hmm, okay, with this approach it is more efficient. It is not perfect, but here we are not talking about round robin, right? Round robin तो ऊपर हम डिस्कस कर लिए थे।
हाँ, मतलब इसने क्या कर दिया इस सेकंड वाले अप्रोच में कि आपकी आ, उसने मतलब अपने पास पहले एक ही टॉपिक थे,
हम्म।
अब इसने क्या कर दिया, बेस्ड ऑन माय वीडियो वीडियो आईडीज अलग अलग क्यूज बना दिए हैं अपने पास यहाँ पर।
अच्छा।
सो आपकी सारी एक वीडियो के सारे कमेंट एक ही क्यू में आ जाएंगे।
ओके, सो टॉपिक पर वीडियो। ओके।
हाँ, क्यू पर वीडियो बेसिकली। और सो बेसिकली नाउ अब ये होगा कि अ, आपकी स्पेसिफिक रियल टाइम मैसेजिंग सर्विस स्पेसिफिक क्यू से कंज्यूम कर लेंगे।
हम्म। ओके। श्योर। मतलब ठीक है। ये दिस वाज वी वर ट्राइंग टू थिंक ना कि काफका में हम कर देंगे,
हाँ,
बट
इसने बस ये किया कि आपको डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर दिया है चीज़ों को।
हाँ।
सो पहले राउंड रॉबिन में ये हो रहा था कि एक-एक सारी में रियल टाइम मैसेजिंग सर्विसेज
हम्म।
इंस्टेंसेस के पास जा रही थी, अब सिर्फ स्पेसिफिक के पास जाएँगी।
या एक मेरे को ये थोड़ा देखना है कि रेडिस पबसब वर्सेस काफका पबसब में क्या डिफरेंस है।
हाँ, जो थर्ड मतलब लास्ट अप्रोच इसने बोली है उसमें इसने ज़ूकीपर लगा दिया है यहाँ पर।
अच्छा, सही है। तो एक बार पढ़ लेते हैं। ऑल द प्रीवियस अप्रोचेस रिलाइड ऑन पबसब विद ईच रियल टाइम This means comment creation service doesn't need to allow destination server. It just publishes messages and the right server picks them up. Complexity in managing subscriptions. तो अगर मैनेजिंग में दिक्कत हो रही है तो वी कैन यूज zookeeper which can manage this. So alternative direct routes correct real time to achieve this.
या इसने अब क्या कर दिया कि आपकी डायनामिक मैपिंग कर दिया एक लाइव वीडियो आईडी की स्पेसिफिक सर्वर के साथ।
अच्छा.
तो आपके सारे एसएससी एक वीडियो आईडी के लिए एक स्पेसिफिक सर्वर पे ही बनेंगे।
हम्म,
तो ज़ूकीपर उसको पॉइंट आउट कर देगा आपको।
अच्छा. ये dispatcher सर्विस कर क्या रहा है exactly to achieve this we introduce a dispatcher service instead of broadcasting to topics. The dispatcher service determines the exact server responsible for the viewers to given live video and sends the comments there. Okay, so when a new comment comes in, the receiving server asks the dispatcher service, what are all the servers I should send?
तो डिस्पैचर सर्विस इज मेनली ज़ूकीपर ओनली,
Hmm.
लाइक द सर्विस जो बता रही है आपको कौन से रियल टाइम मैसेजिंग सर्विस को फॉरवर्ड करनी है रिक्वेस्ट।
Okay. मतलब consistent store like a zookeeper or etcd.
हाँ, हाँ। मतलब मैंने कभी यूज़ नहीं किया ये,
Hmm.
बट वो देखना ही होगा अभी कैसे होता है ये इंटरनली।
Hmm.
बट ये सॉल्यूशन सेम एज़ वही है जो अपना ग्रुप चैट वाला था ना, क्या एक बंदा चैट कर रहा है और सारे बंदों को चैट मैसेज पहुँच रहा है।
Right.
प्रॉब्लम तो वही है ये।
मतलब वही ब्रॉडकास्ट ही कर रहे हैं एट द एंड हम, राइट.
एक होती है वन टू वन चैट और एक होती है ग्रुप चैट, तो ये ग्रुप चैट वाला वो मेरे को लग रहा।
हम्म. तो रियल टाइम बट इसमें मुझे कुछ एसएससी जो कंसेप्ट है दैट वाज क्वाइट न्यू एंड
हमने एसएससी तब जब चैट का डिस्कस किया था तब वहाँ पर एसएससी नहीं था अप्रोच, तो इन्होंने इसमें एसएससी बताया हुआ।
ओके मैंने रियल या वहाँ पे शायद वेब सॉकेट्स यूज कर रहे थे,
हाँ,
राइट.
वहाँ पर वेब सॉकेट था, मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि वहाँ पर एसएससी से भी हो सकता है।
या बट देयर व्हाई बिकॉज यहाँ पे जो रीड और राइट रेशियो है स्क्यूड है, राइट. वहाँ पे इट इज नॉट स्क्यूड.
नहीं,
मतलब
आप ग्रुप चैट में भी आपके रीड्स ज़्यादा होंगे ना, अगर ग्रुप बड़ा है।
हाँ ग्रुप बड़ा है बट ग्रुप उतना बड़ा होता नहीं है. देयर इज अ रेस्ट्रिक्शन लाइक मतलब 100, पता नहीं, आई एम नॉट श्योर द एग्जैक्ट नंबर बट उतना बड़ा भी नहीं होता है
टू
ग्रुप.
255 की है रिस्ट्रिक्शन,
हम्म.
और अगर एक कमेंट अगर कोई पोस्ट करेगा तो 255 रीड्स होंगे।
हम्म.
तो
करेक्ट.
हम्म,
बट वहाँ पे चैलेंज ये भी था कि हम नोटिफिकेशन जो भी है, राइट, कि वी आर नॉट सेंडिंग in real time. The user can be offline also. Here we are designing in the perspective कि the user would be online always. तो उस समय कैसा हमारा सिस्टम बिहेव करना चाहिए रियल टाइम में.
हम्म।
ग्रुप चैट में वो बाद में भी मैसेजेस पढ़ सकता है, नॉट इन रियल टाइम. तो एक वो डिज़ाइन चॉइस का डिफरेंस है बट सर्वर साइड इवेंट्स इसमें रियल टाइम हो रहे हैं इवन बिकॉज द यूजर इज ऑनलाइन, देयर द यूजर इज नॉट ऑनलाइन.
हम्म,
Your server scales down direct upon receiving a new client. The content the comment management service करेक्ट सर्वर ये सब हमने डिस्कस कर लिया. चैलेंजेस इज ये मैपिंग कैसे आप एक्यूरेट रखोगे अगर एकदम से वायरल हो जाए वो या something like that. So this might involve zookeeper which efficiently propagates if they cache we can cache also. So to prevent cache refresh होता रहेगा, that is fine. Strong consistency can be achieved through distributed.